Today, we're looking at the unfailing promise, Hannah, Samuel, and answered prayer. You know, if you've ever felt that heavy, quiet ache of waiting for something that honestly feels like it's just never going to happen, well, this one is definitely for you. We're going to map out a deeply moving historical story right out of 1 Samuel chapter 1. It's a true narrative all about faith, immense patience, and ultimately answered prayers.
Okay, let's dive into this. She prayed for a son when everyone else had given up hope, but God had not forgotten her. That single sentence right there, it perfectly captures the essence of our source material today. We are really talking about that universal human pain of waiting. Hannah wasn't just casually hoping for a child, She was in the absolute depths of sorrow, living in a culture and a community that had pretty much totally written off her situation as hopeless. The emotional weight here is just staggering. But that second half of the quote is the anchor for our entire discussion. God had not forgotten her.
Now, looking at the reality of this wait, it's a woman praying alone with tears in her eyes. And this wasn't just some mild internal disappointment. In ancient Israelite culture, barrenness carried this immense social stigma, a real sense of shame. So waiting meant intense isolation for her. Even when she was sitting right there with her family, internally, she was utterly alone in that hopelessness. She faced this incredibly prolonged season of waiting with real, agonizing tears and profound grief. It wasn't just a quiet, sterile waiting room. It was a deeply heartbreaking struggle.
So take a look at the timeline here because it beautifully maps out the chronological flow of her journey. We start out with years, this incredibly long, arduous season of barrenness and waiting. Just years of agonizing silence. But the turning point? It actually hinges on mere minutes. A sincere, tearful prayer before God in the temple. Just minutes of intense, authentic connection. And that, ultimately, leads to months. The literal time it took to physically receive the blessing of a newborn son. It's amazing, really. It shows us how a massive period of silence was suddenly broken by a single, powerful moment of raw vulnerability.
So, what exactly happened in those pivotal few minutes? Well, it was sincere prayer. Sincere prayer is pouring out your authentic, unfiltered heart before God, even when surrounded by total doubt. In the source text, Hannah isn't reciting some polite, beautifully rehearsed poem. No way. The text tells us she's weeping bitterly. Her lips are moving, but no sound is even coming out. She is literally laying it all out there. This right here is the major turning point of the entire narrative. Her relentless trust pushed her to just drop all the pretense and bring her raw, unfiltered pain directly to the source of her hope. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive shift in the story. She continued trusting God when people around her lost hope. And let's be real, that is incredibly hard to do. I mean, in the biblical account, even the religious leader, Eli the priest, he actually misunderstands her at first and thinks she's intoxicated. Talk about being completely misunderstood by the people around you, right? Everyone else has either moved on or judged her, but she flat out refuses to let their skepticism dictate her internal faith. Her breakthrough was firmly rooted in this exact persistence, pushing through despite all the hopelessness surrounding her.
Let's break down the spiritual mechanics of her journey here. We can really see it in 3 steps. Step 1, trust God when others lose hope. You really have to insulate your faith from the doubt of the crowd. Step 2, pray sincerely. Not perfectly, just sincerely. Bring the mess, bring the tears, bring the frustration. And step 3, receive the blessing. This simple but super profound sequence shows us exactly how her terrifying descent into that abyss of waiting was actually the ultimate setup. It transformed into a completely triumphant breakthrough.
And oh, here is that breakthrough. A mother holding her promised baby, just totally overwhelmed with gratitude. I mean, imagine the bright, overwhelming joy of this moment. After all those years of agonizing silence, after the bitter tears in the temple and that stubborn, persistent trust, Hannah finally holds Samuel. The promise is actually fulfilled. You can just feel the sheer enthusiasm and profound gratitude she must have felt. It just washes away all those years of despair. This is the beautiful, tangible, flesh and blood result of a promise finally answered.
So what's the message here? It's that God has not forgotten the prayers you have been praying. I want to pivot sharply from Hannah's historical story for just a second, and I want to speak directly to you and whatever season of waiting you might be in right now. Whether you're waiting for a physical healing, maybe a family breakthrough, looking for some direction, or just needing peace. Listen, just like Hannah in the temple, your tears and your sincere words, they haven't just vanished into some empty void. You are not forgotten.
I really want you to let this mandate sink in.
If you're waiting for God to answer your prayer, don't give up. His timing is not your timing. Keep praying, keep believing, and keep trusting Him. Honestly, delays in answers are not denials. We just saw that beautifully illustrated in the chronological flow of Hannah's life, didn't we? Those years of waiting didn't mean God was saying no. It just meant the timing was unfolding a little differently than she expected. So, keep praying, keep believing.
Which brings us to our final question. God has not forgotten you. Will you keep trusting His timing? Hannah's story from 1 Samuel chapter 1 absolutely proves that a breakthrough is possible, even when the wait feels completely unbearable. Take courage today, persist in your faith, and remember that you are heard. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep trusting.